It's not easy, whether you're in this side of the business as a racing company or you're a racing team. There's a lot of guys that do it as a hobby, but their ultimate dream would be to be able to do it full time, and they just are more sensible about it. And they don't sell the house to go on the road. But then there's those other people that do, and they give it a go. Once you go through this struggle and it takes you, 20 plus years to get to this point, you really gain a level of respect for everybody involved in the industry. Grew up in Orange City, Iowa, a little farm, about 4 miles outside of town. Per capita, we got probably more churches than everybody, and it's a friendly place, beautiful place, welcoming, and just like a lot of the small towns around Orange City, they kind of got that same vibe. Good people striving to do great things. My dad was a farmer by trade. It was his love, it was his passion. He was racing was one of his hobbies through the late 70s and early 80s. Had a little bit of success, not a lot, but I think he really enjoyed his time at the track. But he also loved his occupation and being a farmer. But I think he ultimately knew that the future farm probably wouldn't be passed down. So at that time, I think he really was looking for something else for me to do. Whether I recognized the opportunity then or not, I think he did. Really looking back on it, terrible investment. Probably never should have done it. Business was ill represented. Everything that could have went wrong in a purchase probably did. But he weathered the storm and bought out basically a garage full of equipment, very small customer base, and brought it up to Iowa and started learning how to make wheels.
Wade kind of had told me, yeah, my dad's buying this business and he's going to start this business, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think I was pumping gas for my first job when I was 16, and he's like, hey, you want to come and start helping out on Saturdays and stuff? So I'm like, okay. And yeah, I just kind of started polishing, and then once in a while I get caught up and Wes would pull me out, and I was like 16, 17 years old, and he'd put me on this lathe and start having me cut these parts, and he's like, yeah, you can do it. I'm like, okay. So yeah, he was more of a father figure, probably more than a boss even. So
it was more of just survival. We didn't have a marketing budget at all. It was mainly just customer service. That's really all we had. And if we could at least get on the wheel and they got a hold of it and they liked it, they told a friend.
So right after we got married, we would literally pack up our car, load up wheels, a table, and we would head to a show. We'd head to a race, like a 2-day event or something like that. And then we'd try to sell our way to get our gas money home. We'd get home, we'd wash our clothes, we'd pack them again, and we'd leave again, and we'd go to the next one.
I would say every time we really kind of wondered, is it going to work? We'd have another win. Well, wins on Saturday, sales on Monday. And that's true. And slowly started to snowball things. We always saw gains, and that was a big positive thing. When I was in high school, my dad was already taking private pilot's lessons. He was a pretty active pilot, whether it was him going up to keep his hours up or taking friends up for a cruise. He did a lot of it.
He was a guy where work had to get done, and the work was done. That's what he wanted to go do. He wanted to be up flying, and you could just tell that was his passion, what he really loved.
I remember pretty specifically the morning I was in the office. I remember I was on the phone, and I remember him feeling him pat me on the back, and out the door he went. I knew he was leaving. Didn't know exactly that he was going flying. I just know he was out, and I kind of gave him a nod, and he was gone. And maybe 6 hours later, towards the end of the day, we got the phone call that there was an accident and I had to come to this location. And the more I drove, I started to get a weird feeling that, okay, why they just call me to come? And that's the day we lost him. Exactly what happened, we'll never know. Came down in some trees. There was 3 other accidents in Iowa credited to downward wind shear. So whether it was something that went wrong with the plane, if he made a mistake, we'll just never have those answers.
It was hard. very hard. You know, we were young, you know, all our employees were young, so it was very hard.
I mean, I was 20 years old, 21 years old. You know, his dad had did the drawing for this new building. We had the dirt work kind of started. Then we're just like, you know, well, now what?
We're just getting ready to build our building here in Orange City, and that same week is when he had our accident. So, yeah, from that point on, it was, you know, you didn't have a choice. I was 24, 250,000 in the red. You know, there's no real reason we should have been able to survive that, but we did. There wasn't anybody I couldn't go ask for help from. You know, my mother and father-in-law, my brother-in-law was a big part of the business forever and a day. You know, though everybody stepped up. You know, you can look back and say I did this, and it's not the truth. Your team did this. You know, my wife did this. A lot of it was friends and family and good employees and great customers. So around 2015, you know, things are rolling well. Winning on every single level, and you start to look at the future. What's next? If it was just me, we'd be content with our old building. Could have made a great living just like that. But you know, when you have 4 kids and you see an opportunity possibly for them in the future, you look at the next step. And in 2015-16, we started, you know, realizing that the budget was going to be there for a facility expansion, new equipment. And that's kind of what we set out to do. We put our you know, phase 20 dream in place and our next goals and work for them.
We're doing basically everything in-house now. I mean, that's huge. Basically, our original building, we do all our production in, we do all our spinning in. CNC programming is all done in the original building. Then our new building, we have our laser cutter where we cut all our circles for our spinning out. And then we added our powder coat line and our heat treating facility, warehouse, and then all our shipping and receiving is in the new facility as well.
We've also brought in a new CNC spinning machine to help up with our current ones. We'll have two automated machines on the floor, and our current one will do all the way up to our 38-inch tractor pulling wheel. So it's been a big boost. You know, everything you put on paper that's supposed to work in these fashions is supposed to pay back. Really is right off the bat, and it's fun to see that sort of thing coming.
You know, I don't think I ever dreamed that we would get this big, but it's not a surprise. He kind of does everything big. Wade is, whether it's a family meal, he does big, or you know, and that's just the way he operates, and I truly appreciate that about him. I think he knows that his dad, you know, is very, very proud of him and would be, you know, smiling down because he exceeded anything that his dad probably ever dreamed.